Hey guys, it's DT back with another big Transformers unboxing. Today we have the XM Studios Bumblebee. So as you can see, pretty big box here. Not as big as some of the other Transformers we've got. This one is just one layer. So far I've reviewed 3 of the pieces from this line. Actually, the only other 3 pieces that have been released. We've got Optimus Prime, Starscream, and Megatron. It's got this nice red Autobot box. Here are the Bumblebee tech specs. It looks like Bumblebee doesn't have much strength or firepower, but he is intelligent and he's got a lot of heart and courage. All right, so without further ado, let's open this up. We've got our little black envelope. They don't have art prints for this line, so that's basically what we're going to be looking at today. Let's go ahead and get some straps off. And let's see what we have. Okay, and here's everything you get. So as I'm taking this out of the box, I'm noticing that this is definitely a lot smaller than I'm used to when opening these Transformers. But you know, Bumblebee, he's a pretty small guy. I think he's probably one of the smallest Transformers. First off, we have our plaque. I might actually start displaying these for the Transformers. I have these guys set up in their own little space with their alt modes underneath them. I'm also collecting the Funko Pops of the retro Transformers, and I have some of the original G1 toys. So I'm kind of displaying them all together, so I think these things could display nicely with them. There you go, Bumblebee, limited edition. I believe the edition size for this is 258. I think it was the same as Megatron. So not a whole lot of people ordered these, but luckily XM is continuing the Transformers line. Up next, we've got Grimlock, and we just saw photos of their Soundwave. So here is a look at the base. It's actually a Transformers base I can hold in one hand, but it does have some weight to it. Great detail, like its big brothers. Got a lot of Cybertronian mechanics here. Got another fall-in, it's like a jet engine, very similar to the one we have on the Optimus Prime base. I like the colors on here, very neutral metallic colors. Unlike that Megatron that had some blues and some oranges. I think the yellow on Bumblebee will pop pretty good off of this base. So here's my hand, here's Bumblebee. So I'd say it's similar to the size of a quarter scale Wolverine. So he's not very tall. His windshield has a little protective film on it. Some really awesome detail like we've come to expect from the Transformers line. Look at all that. You can see through the windshield, we've got some mechanical parts going on inside, so it's not just a hollow cavity, and it's not just painted black. We have all the inner workings here, some nice paint on that yellow. It's not just yellow. We kind of got the dirty, battle damaged look. Same here with the blacks on his leg, and down here to his feet, and also the wheel underneath his foot. The inside of his leg also has a lot of detail. So they definitely didn't skimp there. Here is his rear windshield. Again, some added detail on the inside there. And then we have the spare tire on the back. Some nice tire tread in there. Pretty cool sculpt there. We'll see it all set up in just a second. We've got his right leg, looking very similar to his left. Here is his left arm. Very nice gun he's got there. Here's a look at his other arm, which is more bent. So we've got 2 portraits. These guys are rather small. Here's a look at kind of the classic animated bee. He's got a more humanoid face, got the horns, very nice paint job to match his body, blue eyes, and he's kind of got the mouth and what appears to be teeth. I think he's the most humanoid out of all of the Transformers, the most relatable. That's why he's got his own movie. And here we have a mass portrait, and this was actually how he first appeared as a toy. Later on, they changed the face to kind of match the animated series, but as you can see, the packaging still had that original mass design. It makes him look a little bit tougher, unlike this guy, where he kind of looks like a friendly neighborhood Transformer. And we can remove his head to put in some batteries, and his eyes light up. Then over here we have his buddy Spike. Spike is a 1/10 scale human, but he's got this big exo suit. I have a couple of those Iron Studios 1/10 scale X-Men, and he looks pretty similar. I mean, those things are tiny. Humans are tiny in 1/10 scale. Some people didn't like that they added this guy. I didn't mind. I mean, he does play a very important role in the animated series. So his suit pretty much makes him another Transformer. This is kind of a diorama as you're getting two separate characters on here. Granted, they are a little bit small. He's got this kind of cool futuristic suit on underneath the exosuit. Look at that, great detail. That jetpack reminds me a lot of the Optimus Prime jetpack. Look at that rear end. So he's got kind of this silver. This is a little bit on the light blue side. It also comes with the little dome. Okay, it's a pretty nice fit. There's a look at his face in the dome. Not too bad for a 10th scale human. So here's a look at his right arm. Right here it says XO3. Looks like it's got like a little gun up in front, some mechanical parts underneath, and all these little coils there in the shoulder area. Let's go ahead and snap that on. And I always am curious how these small humans can fit in these mech suits. Obviously the real joints don't really line up with the robot joints. I guess we have to just suspend belief, just like we do in the comic world. Here is the left arm. And that one just keys in like this. And we get some more aged Cybertronian metal pieces. These right here look very similar to those parts that stick out of Starscream's base. Here's another one. We've got two of these hexagonal Cybertronian coasters. They've got the felt bottoms, and of course this is going to be our base to our alt mode. And here it is. It does have little holes for the side mirrors as well as the front and rear bumpers. As you can see, they've got a little XM Easter egg here on the back. Here's a look at the underside. Good tread on the tires, nice details on the mechanics of the car. These wheels, just like the Optimus Prime, don't rotate, so don't think you're going to be driving this all over the place. It's meant to stay still on the base. We've got some black tinted windows on the rear, and it looks like it might be on the front, but if you look closer, you can actually see into the car. You can see his steering wheel and the dash. Got the Autobot logo, along with two windshield wipers. Here's a look at the front and rear bumper. We've got another license plate on the front that says XM001. That's on all of them. The XM Studios Ghost Rider actually had a license plate that had the edition number on it. So that would have been cool, but for some reason, this one says 001. Okay, so let me get this guy assembled and give you guys a closer look. Okay guys, here he is, XM Studios Bumblebee and Spike. So Bumblebee made his first comic book appearance in the Transformers #1 back in 1984. You guys are probably sick of seeing this comic book because every Transformer that I've reviewed so far made his first appearance in this book. Bumblebee got his first cover in issue number 16. Didn't go very well for him. He's getting all shot up by the Decepticons. He is small. He is considered to be one of the weakest Autobots, and they definitely took advantage of that, as you can see here. I was trying to find another comic book with him on the cover, and I found this one, G.I. Joe and the Transformers #1. And as you can see here, he's not doing much better than he did in that other issue. This time it looks like he's getting blasted apart by the United States Army. This one kind of reminded me of the scene from the movie where he gets blasted into bits, but of course he gets put back together again. Yeah, poor little Bumblebee. Gets destroyed in every cover that he's on. So that was a little bit of comic history for this little guy. Let's get on to the statue. As you can see, it's quite a bit smaller than some of the other Transformers that I've reviewed on the channel, and I'll get a little bit more into the size and scaling as well as the price for this guy a little bit later in the video. But for now, let's break this thing down. Again, we've got a Cybertronian floor base. It's full of detail. It's got this weathered metal appearance. We've got the broken up engine. We've got some of those crazy looking coils, metal parts, metal pieces. It just looks like a huge Transformers junkyard. I really love these muted colors. It really makes the yellow on Bumblebee pop, and XM really spared no expense when it came to detail. It fits very well with the others from this line. The only thing I wasn't too keen on was the placement of the figures. We've got Spike pretty much dead center, Bumblebee to his left, and then we also have this big engine on the left side as well. So the piece in general is a little bit left side heavy. So one of the features on the information page is that you can display Bumblebee by himself. The only problem with that is that once we remove Spike, it becomes even more left side heavy, leaving you with an empty void on the right side. But as it is, I think it looks good. We've got these two guys kind of fighting together. We've got Bumblebee covering the left side while Spike is taking care of the foes on the right. I can go either way with Spike. I can definitely see if you're collecting a bunch of Transformers, having a human in there kind of throws things off a little bit, but Spike did play a very key role in the animated series. If they were going to include a Spike, it would have to be with Bumblebee because, of course, that's his best buddy. So the sculpt on Bumblebee looks great. I really like his action pose. It's a nice shade of yellow. It's not too bright. All these scratches and battle damage. He's got these little gold shinier accents around his body as well. I like all the details that you can see through the windshield that are inside the vehicle. The only switch out we get with this piece is another portrait. They are identically the same except for the face. This one has his normal face and this one has a battle mask. Both of them have eye light ups, and the cool thing with these light ups is that the button to turn them on is right here on the neck. So we can just press it here and we don't have to actually open up his head to press the button. I think this one looks pretty cool. Definitely a little bit more futuristic look to him. Kind of looks like a RoboCop Bumblebee. This one looks great as well. It reminds me a lot more of the animated series and the comic books. Definitely not the Bumblebee we're used to seeing in the Bay universe. And then we can't forget about Spike. If you guys aren't familiar with Spike, he's basically the human friend of the Autobots. In the Bayformers, he's known as Sam Witwicky, but from the animated series, his name is Spike. You might think that's a weird name, but his dad's name is Sparkplug. He is a regular human, but here he has his exosuit. This is the XO3. Of course, it makes him a lot bigger, a lot stronger. From the looks of his portrait, this is the older version of him. That's the one that appeared in Transformers the movie. Now in the TV show, he was more of a teenager. His suit looks a little bit clunky, how it moves. He's kind of just walking, where Bumblebee looks like he's actually running forward. But I like the design on it. It looks pretty cool. Looks very RoboCop-ish as well. With these very large legs, we can also see some of the hydraulics in the back of his legs, some of those same coils that we see on the Transformers. And then he's got this cool rocket pack on his back. It comes with the removable dome, so we can see his face a little bit clearer. We also get the nice alt mode, the VW Beetle. I think it looks really good, all assembled. It is a little bit smaller scale than Bumblebee right here. The wheels on Bumblebee are definitely bigger than the ones on the alt mode. I also compared Bumblebee's feet to kind of the front end right here, and his feet are definitely bigger. So the biggest concern a lot of people had was, is this guy too small? Was he underscaled? And that's kind of a difficult question to answer because Bumblebee has appeared in different sizes throughout his existence. He was a very small toy. His size was very inconsistent in the animated series. Sometimes he was tiny, sometimes he was a bit larger, and in the new Michael Bay movies, he is quite large. So I think in order to kind of tell if he's the right scale, we need to first look at Spike here. So Spike is a human, a 1/10 scale human. I've got my buddy over here, Professor X. If I take this off and put him next to Spike, their proportions are pretty similar. So assuming this XM Studios Professor X is true 1/10 scale, I think Spike is 1/10 scale as well. Of course, his exosuit makes him a lot larger, but I think his head proportions, at least, are correct. Now usually we can look through a windshield of a car and see two people sitting side by side. Now the question is, can we fit two 1/10 scale figures into this car? Now it can be argued that Bumblebee can shrink or grow when he transforms, sort of like Megatron does when he turns into a gun. Let's assume he can't do that, and his size has to be consistent between his robot mode and his car mode. When we put him in front of the windshield here, you can see he pretty much takes up the entire windshield, which means that the car is probably a little bit on the small side. So when it comes to price, I think this guy is a little bit on the expensive side, being that he's only $400 less than Starscream, which is a much bigger statue with a lot more switch out options. But I think if you're collecting this line, you gotta have Bumblebee, so you gotta fork over the cash. All right guys, so that was the XM Studios Bumblebee. Great looking piece. To summarize, we got a great sculpt, great paint job, we've got great details. The only thing I would change would be maybe the positioning of Bumblebee, his size of course, and maybe his price. But overall, very glad to have him in the collection. Also make sure to check out my other channel, DT's Geek Show, for more statue unboxings, Transformers, and comic book content. We've got some really cool stuff coming up there. And since I started it here, I will be continuing the big Transformers unboxing on this channel, so stay tuned for that. I think the next one up in this line is Grimlock. So that one's in production right now. Hopefully we'll have it sometime this year. And I also have another very large Transformer coming, so stay tuned for that. I hope you guys liked the video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.